AI is supposed to make digital marketing easier, right? Then why does your content sound robotic? Your workflows are a mess, and your team is overwhelmed with tools. The truth is, most of us haven't even scratched the surface of what artificial intelligence is capable of. Many businesses are using it like a vending machine, where they type something in, press enter, and run with whatever it produces. But AI isn't a replacement for strategic thinking. It's a multiplier. And if you multiply weak strategy and generic messaging, well, you just gave it more of it faster. That's why so many brands are seeing their output increase while their impact declines. Now, don't get me wrong, we're not anti-AI, we're anti-lazy AI. There's a big difference. And until you understand where AI creates real leverage and where it quietly undermines your marketing efforts, it's going to feel like you're working harder with smarter software. So stick around, because by the end of this video, you'll learn exactly how to leverage AI to scale results and drive value instead of creating more noise. Hi, I'm Jimmy Gibson, Vice President of Brand Communication at Thrive Internet Marketing Agency. We've been doing digital marketing for over 2 decades, and for the past couple of years, AI has become an integral part of our operations. We use it every day across thousands of active campaigns, which means we know exactly what happens when your teams rely on it too heavily. And here's what we've discovered. AI is not breaking marketing, it's just exposing bad marketers. We're seeing brands quietly sabotaging themselves by treating AI as a complete replacement for human strategy rather than building intelligent marketing systems. Those people bragging about producing massive amounts of content in minutes using AI, they're not winning. They're flooding the internet with noise, and their results show it. Their messaging becomes generic and disconnected, while their digital marketing performance slowly declines. That's exactly what we're unpacking today. Over the next few minutes, I'll break down the exact key areas where AI consistently gets digital marketing wrong. And I'm willing to bet your team is making at least one of these mistakes right now without even realizing it. Next, we'll look at where AI actually improves execution and creates real efficiency in digital marketing. And lastly, I'll show you how Thrive uses AI without losing our voice or competitive edge, including the simple shift that changes how AI fits into your entire marketing process. Let's get into it. Over the past few years, we've noticed 3 areas where AI consistently misses the mark. And if you're depending solely on it to do brand marketing, there's a good chance you're running into all 3 of these right now. You might be thinking, but everything seems to be working fine. Exactly. These are quiet, subtle mistakes that can erode your brand's trust before you even realize anything is wrong. Number 1 on the list is brand voice. You might not notice it yet, but your brand voice or the distinct personality and tone that makes your business easily recognizable is slowly disappearing. If you don't believe me yet, here's a quick exercise for you. Go and look at 10 different websites in your market. It won't take long before you start seeing the same phrases over and over. Data-driven, innovative, results-oriented. The kind of language that could belong to almost any company in almost any industry. And that's the problem. As AI adoption accelerates, more and more businesses are starting to sound the same. Tone becomes generic, messaging becomes flatter, and content becomes efficient but forgettable. It happens so gradually you barely notice. This is because every AI tool is trained on the same enormous body of content available on the internet. And over time, it gets very good at producing the most broadly acceptable version of any message. Safe, generic, inoffensive, and most of the time, uninteresting, which is the exact opposite of what a strong brand needs. Let me show you an example. Here's homepage copy that AI generated when I gave it a fairly typical brief for a B2B technology company. What stands out to you? Well, this reads like a slogan full of action words and abstract ideas that, when stripped down, don't actually describe a specific product or service. Let's break this down further. First, the rule of 3, or triplets overload. Transform faster, operate smarter, grow stronger. AI systems love specific sentence structures and especially abuse the rule of three. It's a writing principle stating that ideas grouped in threes are more memorable and convincing to the audience. However, this structure is so overused in AI-generated content that it appears like a template rather than a unique brand voice. Second, high-density buzzword soup. In this example, the subheading is a collection of safe, generic, enterprise terms that offer no unique value proposition. Enterprise ready, complexity into efficiency. Measurable results. Notice how these words are interchangeable with almost any B2B tech company. The content delivers a promise so vague it fits everyone and connects with no one. And lastly, the lack of human touch. This AI-generated copy is too polished. Human-written copy often carries small, telling details that feel like someone is actually talking to you. There's a unique point of view, and sometimes there's even a bit of edge. Now, here's how we'd rewrite that. We'd start with 3 questions. Who's your target audience? What do you do that others don't? And what do you believe that most of your competitors won't say out loud? Because AI was trying to do too much at once, the best way to humanize it is to pick a specific pain point and use more concrete language to position your brand as the solution. But here's where things get more complicated, because the next issue isn't just about tone. Even when AI gets your brand voice, its mindless use in content generation could still cost your business conversions every single day. Before AI, writing took time. You'd pause, rethink a claim, rework a sentence, and refine the tone. The process sharpened the message. Now, a blog post takes 5 minutes and a full email takes 30 seconds. While extremely efficient, this leads to content that's technically correct but forgettable and flavorless. Generic AI writing, while clean and accurate, even where grammar and logic are concerned, lacks a soul most of the time. Readers want more than information. They want new ideas and real opinions. So if you're publishing AI-generated content without editing, you're training your audience to ignore you. Here are 3 red flags you can't afford to miss. Red flag number 1, perfect structure, 0 substance. Researchers found that heavy reliance on AI systems altered the overall style of users' outputs, making their language less personal and more formal. You can spot this instantly. Perfect grammar, uniform phrasing, consistent stylistic smoothness across the entire content. Everything is a little too polished. But there's no insight, no memorable takeaway. AI is at its weakest when a topic requires experience rather than information, which brings me to the second red flag you need to be careful of. Content that explains what, but never why. This is where many brands get caught out. Tools like ChatGPT are excellent at summarizing existing literature, but they often fall short of interpretation. They can explain a concept clearly and structure it well, but without clarifying relevance or implications, the content can sound overly generic. You'll see this in content that defines terms without connecting them to real outcomes, lists tactics without explaining when to use them, or repeats best practices without challenging whether they still apply. It's technically correct, but lacks a unique point of view from a lived experience, something AI can't generate without human input. And finally, red flag number 3, paragraphs that feel like summaries of other summaries. Since AI is trained on existing data, it's basically just echoing what everybody else already has said. And here's the big issue. Your audience is catching on. They bounce off your website sooner and trust your brand less. When this happens, you'll notice lower time on page, higher bounce rates, fewer clicks and conversions, and content that ranks but doesn't convert. Worse, repeated exposure to this kind of content trains your audience to expect less from you. Most businesses think the fix is better prompts or better tools. It's not. This points to a much bigger problem we need to talk about next: why AI struggles with real customer insight. AI is often blamed for robotic customer interactions, but the real issue is poor training. If your data is shallow or outdated, the output will be too. And this is where many businesses get it wrong. They expect AI to generate customer insights, when in reality, it can only organize and scale information that already exists. As a result, the customer insights AI produces are almost always surface level. Let me show you a few examples. AI says your customer is motivated by saving time and increasing efficiency. But if you've sat in on enough sales calls, you know the real driver is often risk avoidance. Or AI could say the objection is price. But in reality, your prospects are hesitant to purchase because they're not sure you've done this for a business like theirs before. When your messaging is built on AI's version of the customer, it misses the emotional layer entirely, which is very important in driving decisions. So instead of asking whether AI in customer experience needs more human qualities, businesses should ask, are we feeding AI the right data to learn from? Are we applying AI insights, or are we just letting them sit in a dashboard? Are we balancing automation and human intervention effectively? If you answered no to all three, then you need to rethink your AI strategy. Now, if we just give AI better inputs, better prompts, better briefs, won't we get better outputs? And yes, that helps, but I'll say it again. AI is only as good as the strategy behind it. Without a strategic approach to collecting and contextualizing data, even the most advanced AI tool will fall short. Let me ask you a simple question. When your team uses AI, what's the first thing you think about? Is it what should we prompt, or is it what decision are we trying to influence? Because those are two very different starting points, and most teams start in the wrong place. They use AI before they have data and strategy in place, so the output ends up being technically correct, but useless. You get a blog post with no role in the funnel and ads that inform but never convert. Before AI ever touches a piece of content, you, the expert, need to decide on four things. Who specifically is your content for? What stage of the funnel is this content serving? What is the one thing you want your target audience to walk away with? And finally, what is your actual point of view? The thing you believe that most competitors either ignore or wouldn't be willing to say out loud. Once you've answered these four questions, AI becomes incredibly useful. Remember, AI amplifies whatever you bring to it. So if your strategy is vague, AI will help you produce vague content at scale. If your positioning is weak, AI will help you repeat weak messaging more efficiently, which brings us to an important balance. Because at this point, you might be thinking, okay, so AI is just a problem? Not at all. In fact, when used correctly, it's one of the most valuable tools you can have. So let's talk about where it actually helps. First, speed. AI helps in writing first drafts and outlines and summarizing complex information. For a team producing high-volume content, that alone speeds up the process, as long as humans are shaping and finishing that content, not publishing it raw. Second, pattern recognition in data. AI is incredibly powerful in surfacing opportunities and highlighting anomalies you might miss when doing manual work, such as when ad versions are gaining traction or which email subject lines are resonating with which audience segments. Third, content repurposing. You can use AI to turn a long-form video into a blog post, an email sequence, or even a script for a YouTube short. AI can repurpose content extremely well. So your best ideas get more mileage without your team working double the hours. And lastly, scaling test variations. In the past, you'd write a few ad variations, maybe tweak a headline or two, launch it, wait, analyze, repeat. Now, AI lets you generate 10, 20, even 50 variations of a single idea in minutes. But don't get overexcited. As mentioned, real efficiency is about ensuring every piece reflects your brand voice and industry expertise. And to win at this, you need to be very deliberate about keeping humans in charge of these 5 specific elements. Because the closer you get to someone making a decision, the more human judgment matters. Number 1, final messaging on high-intent pages. The words someone reads right before they decide whether to buy it, book a call, or walk away, those need a human who understands persuasion. Number 2, brand voice consistency. The more you use AI for execution, the more important it becomes to have humans actively maintaining the voice standards across everything it produces. Number 3, thought leadership. The problem is AI produces the consensus view by design. But if you aren't saying something new, why should anybody listen? Take a position that not everyone in the industry agrees with. Number 4, competitive differentiation. If you and your 3 biggest competitors are all using the same AI tools to optimize your messaging with no clear strategy in place, you're all going to end up sounding like the same person. And lastly, emotional nuance and cultural context. One tone-deaf AI post can spark a PR fire that no amount of efficiency can justify. So, how do you use the tool's speed without falling into these dead zones? Thrive's demand generation team has been testing AI strategies across our own campaigns, which means we know exactly what works and what doesn't. And if you're still watching at this point, this is the part you want to pay attention to, because everything we've talked about, all the things that AI gets wrong in digital marketing, are fixable with a simple shift in your processes. Let me introduce you to the Thrive way that separates teams getting real leverage from AI and those just creating more noise. Most teams overcomplicate this. They add more prompts, they add more layers of automation, but none of that fixes the core issue. So instead, we'll focus on 3 principles. Strategy first. Humans lead. AI accelerates. Strategy first. Before you open any AI tool, be intentionally clear on your strategy. And I don't mean having a vague sense of what you're trying to do. You need to have a clear understanding of your brand goals, target audience, and the specific problems that keep them awake, conversion paths, and messaging. AI helps us organize that insight, build messaging frameworks from it, and apply it consistently across campaigns. Humans lead. Second, our experts always lead the creative and strategic decisions. If you want to beat AI content fatigue and stop sounding like everyone else, you need humans in 3 key places: before, during, and after the AI. Before using AI, we sit down with sales data, customer interviews, lost deal analysis, and performance insights. This allows us to identify what our target audience actually cares about and what drives decisions. During AI implementation, we shape the direction and refine the inputs. This ensures the messaging aligns with the strategy. After AI, every piece goes through multiple reviews to ensure it aligns with the strategy, brand voice, and marketing goals, and resonates with the target audience. We check for tone, accuracy, and intent. If it doesn't meet the standard, it doesn't go live. AI accelerates. This is where AI does its best work. From automating processes to powering hyper-personalization, we leverage AI to scale our operations, but only once the direction is already set. Remember, AI is just a tool, not a magic solution. Smart marketers use AI to accelerate their thinking. Bad marketers use AI as a crutch and fail. At the start of this video, I said most brands aren't realizing they're sabotaging themselves with AI. Now you know what that looks like. Stop treating AI as a human replacement. Instead, treat it as a collaborator and use it with the most intent. Work better with a stronger strategy and use AI to amplify what already makes your brand different and relatable. When strategy is strong, AI scales impact. If you want help auditing how your team is currently using AI and figuring out where it's helping versus quietly hurting your brand, that's exactly the kind of work we do at Thrive. Hit the link in the description and start a conversation. And if this video gave you a different way of thinking about AI in your marketing, hit like and share so more people can actually see this, and subscribe if you want more valuable marketing content. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one.